No Other Land won Best Documentary Feature Film at the Academy Awards at the Oscars this week. It is a Palestinian Israeli film about Palestine, and it has been created by two journalists, one Palestinian journalist called Basel Adra and one Israeli journalist called Yuval Abraham. It's major, it's significant. It is the first prize won by Palestine at the Oscars.
It's a huge moment. The film kind of follows the struggles faced by a Palestinian journalist as he is attempting to protect his village from Israeli settlers. And it's filmed over a few years. We're talking pre-October 7th. We're talking a long time ago. This Palestinian is trying to protect his home.
A really powerful and beautiful metaphor, like this kind of like co-creation for this story and this message, and they've made it together. This film has been made by two human beings. One happens to be Palestinian, one happens to be Israeli, and they've worked on this together, and I think that's incredible.
Hello everybody, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the Palestinian win at the Oscars.
And we'll be having a little chat about Meghan Markle's new Netflix show.
This is Culture Bites, coming to you from the National News every Thursday. I'm Enas and Farah.
And I'm Farah Andrews.
Hello, Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem.
Yes, Ramadan Kareem.
How are you?
I am okay. My English-German husband is fasting with me. And I know that he doesn't listen to this, so I'm just going to be really truthful. He's all like, I'm going to fast with you, I'm going to fast with you. He is so grumpy. Oh, he's grumpy. I'm like, that's part of fasting, my love, is to control that behaviour.
Yeah.
He's failing at that part.
It's not all sunshine and roses.
It's not.
It's
How's your Ramadan? Oh.
So far?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yes.
I am not fasting.
Are you going to any
iftars? I am going to an iftar 1 week today. And I've
going?
invited myself to iftars with you.
Yeah, I know. You're coming to all of my iftars. That's fine. Which one are you going to? Where are you going?
You know, this isn't the most classic of iftars.
Okay.
The Anantara Santorini between Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
There.
Oh, lovely. Nice scenery.
Do you want to come with?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll come.
We'll organise it.
Yeah. I'll invite myself to your iftar if you invite yourself to mine.
Me iftar is 2 iftar.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I've had my mum in town for Ramadan.
Is your mum fasting?
No, my mum doesn't fast, but we're all going to an iftar. My sister's coming down. My sister and I fast, so we're going down. It's like a big hodgepodge in my family.
It is, but that's nice.
It's lovely.
It's beautiful.
Yes, that's what I like. Okay, so
it's been
what
Oscars
a
week. Yeah.
What a week.
I'm going to start this by making it about me.
Oh, no, please do, because we're talking about Palestinians, so go for it.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I have covered the Oscars from like 4 a.m. every year for about the last 10 years.
And you did a solid job. It was brought up in a meeting. You weren't even there in.
This year, I didn't cover it from early doors. I came in mid-morning, but I didn't do the early morning shift. And this year was like the one Ramadan this year was the one Oscars that I was like, oh, wow.
Oh, big moment.
There's big moments for us.
Big moment.
Things that we really care about that we're reporting from here at the National. And I was like, but thrilled for the producers of No Other Land.
Incredible win.
Yeah.
Do you want to just give us the gist of who they are, what the film's about?
I will give the elevator pitch. So No Other Land won Best Documentary Feature Film at the Academy Awards at the Oscars this week. It is a Palestinian Israeli film about Palestine. And it has been created by two journalists, one Palestinian journalist called Basel Adra and one Israeli journalist called Yuval Abraham. Abraham?
Mm-hmm.
However we're pronouncing.
However you want to pronounce it.
And so, it's major, it's significant. It is the first prize won by Palestine at the Oscars.
Incredible.
It's
a huge moment.
It is huge because for a film to be eligible for the Oscars, it has to have been shown it had to have had a theatrical release in the US in the previous calendar year, which is why we often see towards the end of the year a spate of kind of like art house films coming out in cinemas, and often they'll have a very limited release to kind of get them into that calendar year, and then they'll be re-released in the cinema around about Oscars time to get them front of mind. It's kind of all part of the campaign. The No Other Land is no different. It has had a very, 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 very limited theatrical release in the US. Like literally a handful of cinemas in a country that is, let's face it, a continent. But to this moment, it has not got a US distributor.
Wow. So when you make a film, just to describe this to the audience, when you make a film, it's not you that distributes it. You kind of almost have another production house or a studio that comes in and helps you get into all those cinemas, get into the programs for whether it's an art house cinema, whether it's like universities, whatever it is. It's usually brought to you by another company, but they haven't been able to find one.
No, there isn't a distributor in the US yet.
Incredible. I mean, there must be now.
As of Tuesday morning, no. Maybe that'll change by Thursday.
Inshallah.
There will be a lot of attention for this film now. There already has been. But it's been 24 countries. It has found distributors in 24 countries so far, including the UK and France. If you're listening to this podcast from the UK, I can say that it was shown on Channel 4, which means it will be available to stream via Channel 4. So that's very accessible, but in the UAE, it's not easy to watch, or it's not legal to watch. And not that it's, no, I worded that badly. You can't watch it legally. Like, it's not got a streaming distributor here in the UAE.
Yeah. Because you need these streaming distributors and other people like an Amazon or a Netflix. They pick up these films, and we've seen like other Palestinian films picked up, but this one just hasn't. So it's actually quite difficult to see.
But it's also, I think that perhaps this isn't as unusual a timeline as we think for a Palestinian film. We're just kind of seeing there's a lot of attention on it this week because it's won an Oscar. I don't think it's a given that so many of these films aren't getting the widespread distribution, right? Like, I think we take for granted that we can now watch and pay for, in an instant, a lot of films instantly on Apple. Like, my assumption when I want to watch a film is that I'll be able to find it on Apple TV and pay for it if I want to. And for the vast majority of films, that's the case.
Well, not this one.
But it
not
isn't.
yet.
Not yet.
Inshallah.
Yeah, we aren't counting it. We aren't writing it off. Do you want to give a kind of top line on what the film's about?
So the film kind of follows, from what I understand, because I haven't seen it.
Because we haven't seen it.
We haven't seen it. The struggles faced by a Palestinian journalist as he is attempting to protect his village from Israeli settlers. And it's filmed over a few years. It's not one of those ones where it's like, oh, and then he picked up a camera this weekend. We're talking pre-October 7th. We're talking a long time ago. This Palestinian is trying to protect his home.
And it charts back to his childhood as well.
Yeah, it charts back to his childhood, and it's about occupation. What really, I don't know whether we can play a clip of his acceptance speech right now, because that really hit a nerve with me.
About 2 months ago, I became a father, and my hope to my daughter that she will not have to live the same life I'm living now, always fearing settlers' violence, home demolitions, and forest bill displacements that my community, Masafer Yatta, is living and facing every day under the Israeli occupation.
Just the fact that he mentioned that he doesn't want his daughter to go through that, I think it just shows the kind of legacy of trauma that we're now dealing with. There's something about this film and other things where you're just feeling now, how long of this legacy of trauma are we all going to go through? But there are other controversies around this film.
Well, I wanted just to, because we've spoken about Basel Adra and his powerful quotes, but then obviously we can't forget that it's been co-created by an Israeli journalist. And I think like that in and of itself is a really powerful and beautiful metaphor, like this kind of like co-creation for this story and this message, and they've made it together. Like it isn't, I think there's a narrative, and that narrative is everything is angst, everything is hate, and that people can't coexist and people can't work together, and there are these unfixable differences between Israelis and Palestinians. But this film has been made by two human beings. One happens to be Palestinian, one happens to be Israeli, and they've worked on this together, and I think that's incredible. In his speech, Yuval Abraham said, "When I look at Basel, I see my brother. I see that we are unequal. We live in a regime where I am free under civilian law, and Basel is under military law that can destroy his life, and he cannot control. There is a different path."
That, and like bringing that up, I was thinking about that, like actually how many people are aware that there are two separate laws depending on your race and your religion in occupied Palestine, and that and in Israel, and that's kind of like something that is really, it's so important that people are getting that information through, because I think that for a long time people maybe weren't aware of what was going on.
Yeah.
I think I'm so lucky that I live here and that I don't feel like I'm having to explain it all the time.
Yeah.
Because I feel like living in the UAE or living in the Middle East in general, like everyone kind of gets what's going on.
And I think the kind of real significance of the Oscars stage, those speeches, that can't be downplayed,
and it can never be ignored.
And
it's in history now for the rest of time. So do you want to mention some other times when Palestinians have been brought up?
Okay, so
Oscars?
So this is not there has been like a kind of history of Palestine at the Oscars. As far back as 1978, the English actress Vanessa Redgrave addressed Palestinians in her acceptance speech, saying, "I salute you, I pay tribute to you, you stood firm and you've refused to be intimidated," which is it's very powerful.
It's from a... Did you know what happened to her though then? Have you ever seen the clip?
Tell me.
People booed. So in 1978, she was booed.
Well, it's not that different now.
At least they're winning now. But yeah, in 1978, she was booed, and she said it definitely affected her career. Yeah.
And then a series of films from Palestine over the years have been nominated, but not won, including Promises in 2002, Paradise Now in 2006, and Omar in 2014.
I really thought Paradise Now was going to win. I remember that. I thought it was a really strong contender that year.
Yeah, it's 19 years ago now, though.
Oh, stop.
And then this year, there were some pretty beautiful moments on the red carpet. So the No Other Land team kind of were very much dressed to represent.
I saw.
Yes. So we had keffiyehs and everything. It was beautiful.
With a Palestinian traditional embroidery. Yeah, the team really showed up in original garbs.
And then also there were a good number of celebrities wearing Free Palestine. This year, Guy Pearce, Australian actor, was wearing a white dove pin that said Free Palestine.
Lovely.
Yeah.
See, the message is getting through. But the controversial point, so one of our reporters spoke about, which is the fact that there's still some feeling that maybe they won because an Israeli was on board with them.
Yes, kind of like a feeling of, for Palestine to be a contender at the Oscars, there has to kind of be a Israeli lens or an Israeli
element to the story,
stabilizer on the story. And I mean, that is the case here. It's the co-production of two journalists, one Israeli, one Palestinian. And that stands true. So
I think it's really difficult. I think from living in the West for so long, I think people are so... Whenever I say to people that, this is what's going on, they're like, it's a very difficult situation in us. It's very difficult. It's very... I can't describe it. It's really hard.
You're oversimplifying it. It's a lot more complicated.
It's a lot more complicated.
Well, please explain the...
Yeah. So I think people are still like... We're still coming out of that phase of like communication where people are starting to realise, actually, military rule, civilian rule, it's kind of simple. It's kind of simple. So I think slowly people are starting to realise that it's not that complicated, and maybe like just right now we still need Israelis to kind of like say like, hey, we get what they're saying.
Yeah. And it feels like we're kind of like shouting down a tunnel. tunnel that no one's hearing. But being pro peace in Palestine, being pro an independent Palestine does not mean you're anti-Israeli.
No.
And it shouldn't need that caveat. Shouldn't even need to be given.
Yeah.
And yet it does still that kind of enormous sweep, that sweeping generalization can be applied, and it is incredibly short-sighted.
Yes, but very, very happy nonetheless.
A landmark week.
For what an amazing... Did you see my Instagram? I got a little bit excited.
Part? Oh.
I got a bit too excited. I was like posting, they won the Oscar. They won the Oscar. Everyone, they won the Oscar. It got a bit hectic out there.
That's beautiful. I like your enthusiasm.
I was very enthusiastic for
I
it.
woke up and I was absolutely thrilled.
Almost as enthusiastic as I am about the animated series.
There's so much to be happy about.
Like, it's a turning point. It's another turning point. So yeah. And we're back.
We are back.
Okay, you're going to have to fill me in a little bit. I saw you watching this earlier. Meghan Markle, who is the famous wife of Prince Harry.
The Duchess of Sussex.
The Duchess of Sussex. Sorry,
To you and I.
Sorry, I forgot her real title. She has released a new show on Netflix.
Yes.
Which is all about cooking and home lifestyles. It's kind of like a what's her name?
Martha Stewart.
Martha Stewart.
Mm.
She's like a modern day Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
You've done it. That's it. Summed up.
Okay,
Finished.
fantastic. So her new show is on Netflix. It's kind of like another rebrand. People, I mean, the Daily Mail say lots of things about her.
Let's step back from the
Daily Mail.
So With Love, Meghan came out. We are recording on Tuesday, so it came out today, 4th of March. As it stands right now, I have watched one episode.
And what did you think?
What did I think? It's perfectly pleasant.
Oh,
it's lovely. Like it is. It's exact. It's if I'm being like it's an easy watch,
nice.
And I think I will probably watch the whole series. If I'm being a bit harsh with my criticism, I would say there is not a lot that you're going to get from that show that you wouldn't just get from Instagram stories from a lot of people that are already producing this content. So that's.
Is it a bit trad wifey?
Surprisingly.
Oh,
and then
shocking.
she says, so she did an interview with People that I was reading this morning, and she said that she doesn't want to be considered a trad wife. She wants to be considered a female founder. I was like, but however, making cakes and looking after bees, which is a lot of what the first episode is about, does not equal trad wife. But it's very, 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 very quaint. It's
trad wife.
It's so the premise of the first episode, she has a friend coming over, so she's making like the perfect like room experience for her friend. It made me feel holy. What's the word I'm looking for? Like I come up short. I've just had friends staying with me for the weekend. No.
Farah, sorry. I'm just going to stop Farah right there. I've been to her house for supper. You don't come up short.
No, but I did not hand make Epsom salts.
But
considering your
Farah,
fragrant needs, which Meghan does for her friend Daniel.
She also doesn't have a job.
True.
Okay, so just take a deep breath. I think this is.
I was like, should I be creating Epsom salts and making jars of Epsom salts for you and Nas the next time you come for a sleepover?
This is
I will.
one of my. Thank you. This is one of my issues.
I don't have a bath.
I'll take them home. This is one of the issues I have with this kind of content, right? Is because women like you will suddenly feel like they're doing something inadequate. Your home is beautiful. You're a great hostess. Is she setting the bar too high?
And we're all doing enough.
We're all doing more than enough.
It's quite a lot of like, at one stage she like makes homemade popcorn, lovely. And then another stage, all she really does is like take some crisps out of a bag and then puts them in a different bag. And I thought, the crisps, they can just stay in the bag.
They could just stay in the bag. Put them in a bowl.
Yeah. I don't think they needed to be put in another bag. But.
Was the other bag prettier? Is that what the bag was?
Yeah. It's all about aesthetic. It's aesthetic. It's lovely. It's very wholesome. It's very white linen. It's very Instagram.
This is actually, okay, I'm going to put this out there. I really want to watch this. Like,
watch it.
Front to back, because often when I'm sat down with my girls, there's not really that much crossover content for us. Like it's either Looney Tunes from their end at the moment. I don't know why they like that cartoon. Or it's the things that I like to watch, kind of a bit sweary.
But they are no.
So this is quite like, it's kind of like British Bake Off, I imagine, like somewhere like a happy medium, where it's very pretty, it's cozy. The children will hear about beekeeping.
Yeah, that's nice.
I'll know how to fold a napkin.
So it's nice. It's like an easy watch. It's not filmed in her house.
Oh, do we get her to see her kids? No.
In the episode I've seen, no. And I've read that Prince Harry, is in it very sparingly. He pops up, but he's not a focus of the show.
It's not about him.
It's
and
about
the kids.
Meghan.
It's about Meghan.
And it's not their house.
And that's why it's called With Love, Meghan.
Yeah.
It's not With Love, Harry and Meghan.
No, Harry and Meghan's been there, done that. We got all the drama from that show on Netflix a few years ago. So the show, Meghan.
Yes.
I have not watched all of it. In the trailer, this might be some good editing. It might be as it comes. But in the trailer, she is like making hummus. And then she says, look at me trying to find out the one regional line. She's there making hummus. And she goes, I like to take the ordinary and make it extraordinary. I was like, Meghan,
what?
Hummus is already extraordinary.
Wait, no, don't. Did she put like mushrooms in it or something?
I don't know. We'll find out. It's not chocolate or anything. I think she's probably just got some nice crudités. She also says that if she has a takeaway, she likes a takeaway. She normalises herself.
Yeah.
But she would never just have it in a takeaway cart and she puts it in a bowl. So the show got delayed. During the wildfires, the show got pushed back. And then I think this is like maybe one of my takeaways.
Yeah, go for it.
She, in this People interview, she said, you're watching me figure it out in real time or something like that. And I wish we weren't.
Yeah.
I would like it, because like the irony of how polished everything comes across when she changed her brand. It used to be American Riviera Orchid, which is a mouthful. I mean, I just stumbled on it. And it's now As Ever, because that's the way she signs off letters. So this is like, it just seems like we're watching a lot of workshopping. But in the show, we don't. The show comes across as very packaged, nicely ribboned. It's like I said at the beginning, it's not groundbreaking, but it's nice. She comes across very well, but it's not the fireworks of like Harry and Meghan from a few years ago.
Well, we'll leave it at that. Thanks very much. What about your recommendation for this week?
Very different.
Go on.
Are you familiar with the Scottish comedian Fern Brady?
No.
She's quite punchy.
Oh, I love a punchy Scottish woman.
And she has written a book called Strong Female Character. I'm about halfway through it at the moment, and it's about her journey kind of in fame, but also about her childhood, a lot of her mental health journey, and being diagnosed as a woman with autism late, and how for so long her autism went completely undiagnosed and was just treated as behavioural issues, and that how common that is in women, because autism often comes through very differently in men and women, and a lot of the kind of like signs and are very male for what people are looking for, and so the way it is kind of diagnosed in women is it's often missed, and so it's incredibly powerful. It's made me laugh a lot, but it has also like made me like well up. Aww. It's brilliant. It's completely compelling. I'm listening to it as an audiobook and she reads it herself.
Oh, I love that.
So I very heartily recommend that.
Nice.
And
I am going to be recommending White Lotus season 3.
How far in are you? Are you up to date?
Like, look, I'm a huge White Lotus fan. I get really excited about that's gone. That's gone. So that's not in the season. So if you listen to White Lotus because you like the in the theme tune, that's gone. It's not like that anymore. They've made it a bit more serious.
It left with Jennifer Coolidge.
It left with, anyway, I absolutely I need to stop doing that. Okay.
I'd say don't.
So no, stop it, Farah. Don't tempt me. So no, I loved the first 2 seasons of White Lotus. And if you haven't watched it, it's about kind of like a very luxurious hotel resort campus, and usually something quite extravagant happens. And the first one was like in the Caribbean, I believe, or no, Polynesian.
Hawaii.
It was, yeah, that was it. Hawaii. It was in Hawaii. The next was in Italy, and now we've taken this White Lotus brand to Thailand. Kapon Ka. I love Thailand. Absolutely adore Thailand. So yeah, it goes there, and we've got the same mishmash of characters where it's a resort about all these different characters, and they're usually quite like 3-dimensional, interesting, complex. Are they bad? Are they good? Who knows? No one is good.
And they're all a bit of both.
Yeah, everyone's a bit of both, and everyone has the capabilities of doing evil. But in this season just hasn't quite gripped me like the other 2.
Which is fascinating that it's currently your recommendation.
It's my recommendation because I'm going to give it a chance.
Right,
Farah,
your
okay?
recommendation is sticking things out.
Sticking it out. And we're right now in the kind of like where it's released every week and everyone's quite excited. So just imagining this build-up is going to keep going because the writers are fantastic. Well, the writer and the creator, Michael, I've forgotten his name. So yeah, that's my recommendation for the week. And then if you think this was a bad recommendation, just drop me a line. Let me know and I'll come up with a better one next week.
White Lotus is available to watch weekly with the US release on OSN Plus here in the UAE. So
OSN Plus it is.
handy tip for any listeners.
And is that it for today?
That's it for today.
That's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. And if you like this episode, please follow and subscribe on your favourite, most used podcasting app.
And be sure to follow at The National Arts on social media and catch new episodes of Culture Bites every Thursday. Bye.